happening, people? We are here. We are live. Happy Monday. I hope you're all having a wonderful day wherever you are tuned in from. Big up to everyone in the chat. Be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. Now, guys, I know I'm a little bit of a disgrace. I ain't been live in about a week, but I've been traveling. So I've been unable to be live. But big up to everyone. I hope you are all having a wonderful day. Monday vibes here. The sun is out. So by default, you know I'm in a good mood. However, and I say however because Manchester United yet to get active, but pieces of the puzzle seems to be moving around. So we're going to talk about that. A lot has happened in the last week. A bit has happened in the last couple of days, which is what we're going to talk about. However, it is similar topics that we've kind of been focusing on over the last, I'd say 10 or more so days. You know, the likes of Branthwaite, the likes of Zirkzee. However, one shock, which for me, I don't know if I'm the only one that was shocked about it, was RUUD van Nistelrooy. RUUD returns, as I like to say in the title of this video. RUUD returns possibly into a coaching role for Manchester United. Now, of course, he's got experience as a coach of a top club in Europe. So it'll be interesting to see that he's willing to take a assistant role to come to Manchester United after he's been offered other coaching job. So we're going to talk about that as well. Big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Big up to Alex in the chat. Big up Ridwan. Big up to Malu. Big up to Brush. Big up to everyone. And let's get it cracking. Before we actually get to the RUUD van Nistelrooy talk, I think we're going to start with what I like to do is start with potential outgoings. So any news about potential outgoings. Then we're going to talk about the incomings, and then we're going to talk about RUUD van Nistelrooy. Alex says we finally signed a striker. Here we go. RBN. Funnily enough, guys, we've been asking for a striker. I didn't think the striker would be in the form of RUUD van Nistelrooy. If you are too young to remember Manchester United with RUUD van Nistelrooy, then I am so sorry, but he is one of the best gunmen. I don't like to use that term. I really don't like to use that term to describe strikers, but that's really the only way I could describe RUUD van Nistelrooy. One of the most clinical strikers I've seen in my lifetime watching Manchester United. Pleasure to have him at the club. You know, you see that Vodafone kit and they say, what player does this remind you of? It reminds me of RUUD van Nistelrooy. And I was lucky enough to grow up in that time and day. Of course, he had his little fallout with Sir Alex Ferguson and then went on to join Real Madrid, etc. But it seems like nearly 20 years. I think he left in 2006. So nearly 20 years, or 2005, 2006. So nearly 20 years since leaving Manchester United, he could return back to the dugout. Could this, before I get that, let's save that topic for when we get to the topic of talking about RUUD van Nistelrooy. But big up to everyone locked in. Like I said, be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. There's so much news floating around in the last 24 or so hours, but we're going to start with this one here on Erik ten Hag's future. No kind of decision made yet. However, Manchester United reportedly hoping to come to a final agreement with Erik ten Hag before the start of their preseason tour in the US, which starts in around mid-July. Negotiations are complicated. There's a lot of aspects that kind of contribute to the negotiations for Manchester United and Ineos and Erik ten Hag. But the positive is that the talks are progressing well. This is coming directly from Rob Dawson at ESPN, and I know probably there's a bit of moving parts to Erik ten Hag's contract that they need to kind of decide on. And I think RUUD van Nistelrooy's actual appointment is one of those parts that need to be moved. And the reason why I say that is I mentioned in the past about the aspect of potentially Ineos bringing in their own assistant coach to work under Erik ten Hag. And it seems like it could be RUUD van Nistelrooy. Now, could that be a kind of pathway from assistant coach to first team manager at a later stage in the coming years? I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much, but I do anticipate that maybe the appointment of RUUD van Nistelrooy does kind of weigh on the contract negotiations under Erik ten Hag and Ineos. And of course, there's other aspects like the idea of his involvement in the transfer window, his ability to request XYZ, and also I think Ineos might have some demands that they want from their manager. You know, I think the title is a big thing. They don't want it to be a manager, but more so a head coach, first team coach or something like that. So I can imagine it's kind of like dotting the I's and crossing the T's and all of that kind of stuff. So that is still a work in process. Of course, when we have some information on it, you lot know what it is. I will come through and update you guys. So that is anything to do with the manager and the manager's situation. I don't know if you lot saw, but Sir Jim Ratcliffe did do an interview on Bloomberg recently where he was talking about Manchester United. I don't know about the stuff that he's saying. A lot of the stuff he's saying is just, I just need actions. Or I don't want talk. I don't want talk. I just want some actions. And I think, you know, as someone who watches Manchester United women a lot, I follow Manchester United. I travel and create content surrounding Manchester United women as well as the men's team. I didn't really like his answer that he gave about the women's team, but maybe I'll do a different stream on that where we kind of break down all of that talk. But as far as I'm concerned, Erik ten Hag, Ineos, Manchester United talks are still ongoing with his contract. Now, it will be quite sad if they can't come to an agreement, because that could essentially mean Erik ten Hag will leave next summer and we'll kind of find ourselves back at the blocks again and back at square one. So I really hope they come to some sort of agreement. And obviously, it seems like Erik ten Hag is willing to work with them in the aspects that they want him to work with them. So we kind of just have to wait and see. On the outgoings at Manchester United right now, I think the number one outgoing that probably Manchester United are hoping to gain something from is this guy here, Mason Greenwood. Quite a few clubs in for him. Getafe are still under the impression that they will keep him next season. I mean, I don't know how they think that because they haven't put in a bid. The first actual bid or offer has come from Lazio, £17 million, which is about 20 million euros plus 50% of any future sell. Manchester United straight up said no. I think Man United kind of hope to get a bit more than 17 million. I think they're looking for the 25, 30. I've seen even 40 being the valuation, but I guess we'll have to wait and see if someone's willing to bid up to 25 to 30 million. I think the bigger aspect is getting a good percentage of any future sell-ons, because, you know, a club like Lazio, a club like the other teams that have been linked to him, Juventus, etc. They have the ability to develop younger talents and sell them on for big bucks. So if Manchester United can agree something like 25 to 30 is kind of being hopeful, I think. I think for me, 30 is being a bit hopeful. But if they can agree about 25 to 30 million plus a good percentage of future sell-ons, then I think Manchester United will be able to find themselves a deal. However, that is also still ongoing. Another situation at Manchester United. And by the way, I do think Man United's first signing in the club will kind of coincide with whoever they manage to sell. There's quite a few players right now on the chopping block for Manchester United. Mason Greenwood was one of them. Of course, Jadon Sancho is one of them. Casemiro is a name that we've kind of heard to potentially leave. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is another name that I've been hearing since January that he would actually leave. Victor Lindelof is a more recent name as well, who is Shola Shortire, but of course he's going to leave on a free agency. So there's nothing really there for Manchester United from a transfer wise. So I do think Man United's first signing will coincide with once they get one or two people out the door for a reasonable transfer fee. And I do think that maybe the first person to be sold for evaluation might be this guy here, Mason Greenwood. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Another one I'm going to keep an eye on is this guy as well. None other than Brazil's very own and Manchester United's very own Casemiro, one of, I think, the highest earners at Manchester United currently in the current squad. It's reported, and this comes from Fabrizio, by the way. And guys, when I'm doing all of this stuff, let me just say one thing. When I'm doing all of this stuff, just because I might not mention the source 24/7, this is always coming from a source. So this is coming from Fabrizio Romano, who's reporting that Casemiro is keen on joining a Saudi club, but it must be on his terms regarding his contract. Negotiations are ongoing as the Saudi side is determining their budget for such deals. Casemiro will accept the move once he believes the conditions are right. The situation remains in flux as both sides continue discussions. By the way, there's two, from what I know personally, and this is my own personal source. This ain't coming from Fabrizio. From what I know, there's 2 teams in for Saudi. Shout out to my Saudi sources. Shout out to my Ikhwan out there. There's 2 teams. Obviously, Al Nassr, everybody knows, but there is another team that's interested in him. And I think Casemiro could potentially become one of the biggest earners in Saudi after Ronaldo, after Neymar, after quite a few other players. He can definitely be in that top 10. He can definitely be in that top 10. And I think that's what he's maybe hoping for. Of course, he's coming to the end of his career. I will be very, very shocked. And one thing I will say, guys, is let's get this out of our heads. No team, and definitely not a Saudi team, is paying 70 million for Casemiro. I've seen during the season, people suggesting United could get 60 to 70 to 80 million. Only Man United were stupid enough to pay that much for Casemiro. No club will pay that. No club value him at that. Manchester United will probably lucky to get 40 million. And the reason why I say that is because Liverpool got a relatively decent fee for Fabinho. So if they could get that for Fabinho, they should look at that as a kind of an inspiration as to what they can get for Casemiro. I don't think he had the most amazing season to kind of be able to be like, look, guys, this guy had a top 2 seasons for us. He did have a good season at first, and then the second season is a bit rocky. But he definitely has that selling factor, I think. And that's a big thing for Saudi as well, especially as they look over the next, as they're building their Vision 2030 under Prince Salman. They are looking to expand in sports. And as they do that, and obviously, they're spending a load of money on football, then they're not going to meaninglessly do that, if that makes sense. When it comes to people like Ronaldo, Neymar, Messi, Mbappe, when they try to get him, those are household football names. I think the only person they will break the bank for to bring them over to Saudi Arabia will be Mohamed Salah, because Mohamed Salah is the biggest name in the Arab world when it comes to football. He's as big as Ronaldo and Messi when it comes to that side of the world. Casemiro, unfortunately, is not. If United could get 30 to 40 million from him, from Al Nassr, from Al Hilal, from whoever it might be, so be it. But it seems like a lot of this transfer stuff with him going to Saudi, it's on him. The decision will be inevitably on him if he's happy with what is being offered by them. But big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button, guys, and be sure to subscribe. We are back with the daytime streams. I know, I'm a disgrace. I just left, and I went away without telling anyone that I was going anywhere. So I know a lot has happened over the last week. The Euros has been dead. Oh my guys, I'm not kidding here. Sorry to go off topic for a bit. Let me go to this screen. Yeah. Am I the only one that thinks the Euros has been an absolute bore fest? I'm waiting for the knockout rounds to come because I'm thinking maybe the knockout rounds might get a bit more interesting. But I have not watched a good game, definitely not a good England game or competition. I think the best game I watched was obviously Turkey versus Georgia. There's been some decent games here and there, but all in all, it's been so underwhelming, man. It has been so underwhelming, but such is life. Hopefully, it will kind of get a bit more interesting soon. And one thing that I hope gets a bit more interesting is this Jared Branthwaite saga. I'm not calling it, I don't want to say it's a saga per se, but of course, Jared Branthwaite is a name that Manchester United have been linked to and have been interested for quite some time. Months and months and months. It's no kind of secret. It's no secret. Now, it's coming out today from the Liverpool Echo. And the reason why I trust the Liverpool Echo as a good source is obviously because that's local. This is their local, local journalism, if you want to call it that. It's the Everton FC local news. They are reporting that Manchester United are set to put in a second bid for Jared Branthwaite. What do you lot think that bid will be? Now, bear in mind, United had a bid rejected last week, or about a week and a bit ago. It's suggested now with Everton and Villa, Chelsea, all these men selling players to each other. They don't have to really, they're in a comfortable position from an FFP and a PSR perspective. So it's reported that they don't actually have to make a big sell. However, Man United will go back in with another bid. I think the bid will be about 50-ish million. I think it's going to be like a 43, 44 base fee and then like 8-9 million in add-ons. That will bring it up to like 52, 53. I don't see Manchester United passing the 55 million mark. And that is the reason why I'm saying I don't see them doing that, is because I'm just going off of, you know, the vibe that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has given us in his interviews over the last couple moments. But if they walk away from that deal, they can't go and sign Todibo because UEFA will reject that. They've lost out on Tosin Adarabioyo. The other options are Mark Gahey, who I think is, by the way, England's standout performer at the Euros right now, especially in that back line. He's their best defender. So they would have to go by him. Crystal Palace got like a 65 million on his head top. They put a 65 million price tag on his head at the least. And then Lenny Yoro, who has already committed to Real Madrid, especially with Nacho leaving over there. So Manchester United might find themselves in a position again, like last season, where all the targets that they wanted or were interested in end up going elsewhere. I mean, the only one will probably be Todibo that won't be going elsewhere. Everybody else will kind of be available. However, Lenny Yoro is committed to Real Madrid already. Mark Gahey, 65, 70 million, probably price tag from him. If Man United were to spend 65 million on a defender, I think they'd be more happy to do that for Jared Branthwaite. Of course, I think they're also in a situation where they don't want to be seen helping out, you know, Premier League clubs who are in financial problems. So they're trying to exploit that as an opportunity to get the player that they need at a discounted price. But Everton continue to stay firm in that price tag. Jared Branthwaite is reportedly just waiting for Manchester United and wants to join the club. He's already agreed personal terms with him. With Manchester United, he's already agreed personal terms with Manchester United, so that wouldn't be a problem. And that also seems to be the route that Manchester United are taking with a lot of the approach that they're having this summer. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is because with Joshua Zirkzee, who we're going to come to in a minute, Manchester United are trying to agree terms with him before directly approaching the club. Now, Zirkzee's situation is a lot easier than Jared Branthwaite because Zirkzee has a release clause, 40 million euros. That's about 34 million pounds. That is a lot more easier because once you agree personal terms, all you have to do is go to the club and say, yep, we're going to trigger his release clause, and, you know, bish bash bosh, Bob's your mate on your bike. It's one of those situations. Whereas with Jared Branthwaite, they need to agree fees with the club. So they don't want to waste their time. One thing I'm kind of appreciative now is that it seems like Man United don't want to waste their time by approaching the club first and then the player second. And instead, they're going down the route of approaching the player first and then going up to the club. Now, we're going to talk about Joshua Zirkzee because I think that's a deal that actually could be, it might not happen. I think Jared Branthwaite is probably more likely to happen in that instance. I definitely do feel that sentiment is definitely there. But I guess we'll just have to kind of, I think we'll just have to wait and see. You know, it's one of them ones we just have to wait and see. Just quickly before we go on to Joshua Zirkzee, big up to everyone in the chat. We've got over 86 people here. The likes are not liking, guys. We're not even on 50 likes yet. We're not even on 50 likes. So let's try get to 50 likes if we can. So be sure to hit the like button if you've just come through. You know the rules. You come in, you wipe your feet, you say hi to everyone in the chat, and then you hit the like button. Or you come in, wipe your feet, hit the like button, and then you say hi to everyone in the chat. If you want to join the membership club, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content. You get to join the Minions gang. We got some member content coming as well as the Euro starts to quiet down. We're going to do some like Q&As and all of that kind of stuff. So check it out. If you want to support the channel in alternative ways, you can as well by sending in super chats with your thoughts, with your questions. Or if you're just appreciating the content and you want to show some appreciation to the channel, you can do that as well. So there's multiple different ways to do all of those to support the channel. And if you want to do the easy thing, you just hit the like button, you subscribe. That is it. It's as simple as that. We're bringing the daily content here. I think I said I'm going to call it daily Mina daily. I don't know. I still haven't kind of thought of it, but we're bringing the daily content here, talking about Manchester United. And if you are interested in being updated with other clubs and what's happening in the transfer window, do let me know, and I could do a separate stream every day Obviously, this one will be the mainstream, but we'll do a different stream every day where we'll talk about what's happening in the football world when it comes to transfers and all of that kind of stuff. So if that's something of interest for you guys, do let me know. Ridwan says De Ligt for 42 million, Gahey 65 million. I do not want De Ligt. I don't want De Ligt. Just am I the only one that is not? De Ligt is never a player that has interested me in that sort of manner to be like, I think United should get him, and maybe it's because I feel like his valuation did go down at his time when he was at, what's it called? What club was he at? When he was at Juve. When he was at Juve, I definitely feel like his valuation went down, and of course he then went on to go to Bayern. I don't know. I watched him versus Arsenal. I watched him versus Arsenal. No, that wasn't him. I watched. That was Dyer. Damn. It was him. No, second leg when Kim and Jae got dropped. Yeah, I did watch him. Also, guys, can I just say this idea of previous players that have worked in the system. We're going to come talk about RUUD van Nistelrooy because obviously he's worked with Jared Branthwaite. I think De Ligt's price tag, obviously he's on the chopping block right now at Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich I never seen a team move so quick in the transfer window, guys. I've never seen a team move so quick in the transfer. They brought their manager in. They've already got 2 signings. I think the third one will probably be Elise. And they're linked to other. Oh my god! Have you guys seen the players that Bayern are linked to? No wonder they have to get rid of the likes of De Ligt, etc. They like it makes sense. It makes sense. Alex says De Ligt is a good player with a bad injury record and somewhat poor reading of the game. That's what worries me the most is the reading of his game and the pace. I think Man United need a player with pace. I feel like with Lisandro Martinez kind of losing a lot of mechanisms due to his injury. I'm saying mechanisms, yeah, like that's even a descriptive word, but I know you lot understand what I'm trying to get at. Since he got injured, I feel like Lisandro Martinez has lost a step in his speed. I feel like his partner needs to be quick. We need pace in that backline, especially if we're going to play a lot more higher up. If Man United's backline intends to play more higher, which Erik ten Hag has alluded to multiple times before, it kind of has to. It kind of has to be a fast-paced backline. Now, you look at the players that Man United have been linked to, and, you know, out of all of them, I said Euro, number 1, Todibo 2, Branthwaite 3. That was my interest. But if I'm bringing in Mark Gahey, so if we were to rank I can't even put Euro in it. I can't put Todibo in it because that's 2. That's not going to happen. But if we were to say De Ligt, Branthwaite, Mark Gahey, who are you going with? That's the question. Who would you go as the partner for Lisandro Martinez? And by the way, I still also think that Man United need 2 centre-backs. I might be under the lesser of the people that believe that Man United need 2 centre-backs, 2 starting centre-backs, because I'm just worried Lisandro Martinez might pick up a knock next season. I hope he doesn't, of course. I really hope he doesn't. And I just think that Man United need to be better prepared this year. I think Man United this season have to be better prepared, not just in terms of injury, but just the quality and the depth in the backline. Because last year, you know, Harry Maguire unfortunately getting injured was sad. Victor Lindelof was bang average. We had to go and call for Cambuala from the academy, which he eventually got injured, and we had to play Casemiro in the backline. I would by any means like to avoid that. So if United can sign 2 centre-backs, and they don't have to be 2 50 million signings, they don't have to be too big, like it don't have to be big valued signings, but one of them has to be the starter and the other has to be rotation, which is why I did feel like missing out on Tosin Adarabioyo is very, very unfortunate. And I know that it's been reported that Man United missed out on him because they weren't willing to pay his salary of what Chelsea was, and Chelsea paid him I think 160 a week in the end, and Man United didn't really feel like a rotational player should be getting that. However, for a free deal, I don't know, and especially I look at Adarabioyo and I'm like, why would you go to, no disrespect to Chelsea at all, but the number of centre-backs that they have, I don't know where Adarabioyo is playing. Like, I really don't. So I'm disappointed that United missed out on that. But if I was to say, out of the 3 of the centre backs that United are linked to, I don't know. Don't you want a much taller centre back alongside Alessandro? 100%. I think we need height in that back line. 100%. United need backline. They need height in that back line. Nobody was looking at Gahey in any proper way in the past year, but because of England performances, he's been sought after. Smart move. I think he's been mentioned, by the way, last summer. He was Mark Gahey was. I remember doing a stream about him last summer for Manchester United because he was one of the defenders United was linked to alongside Tadibo and Tapsoba. And I remember saying at that time, I was like, I don't know how I feel about Mark Gahey, but obviously as the season progressed, I thought, okay, this guy is quite solid. I like quite a few of the defenders at Palace. I like Anderson, I like Tyreek Mitchell, etc. But I do think his valuation will go up after the Euros because he has been England's best defender. Like, it's no secret he's been England's best defender. So I do think his valuation could go up. I think also a lot of other aspects kind of play into it, especially with Harry Maguire's future. We don't know where that stands. So of course, that's another one. Antonio Silva would be perfect. Great ball playing defender that could cover in behind, but his price tag might be an issue. He's got a big price tag, I think, Antonio Silva. Let me just double check, but I'm pretty sure he's got. Does he have a release clause? That's what I want to know, because I hate going on transfer market when they value a player at a certain price when that's actually not realistic. Because I remember we did touch on him. Let me not say that. I remember we did mention him on this stream before as a defender that Manchester United should look at. His valuation is around 45 million, but let me see if he's got a release clause, because of course Benfica slap on release clauses. Benfica is one team that just slap on release clauses. I'm sure the lunch lady has a release clause at Benfica. 100%. The lunch lady has a release clause. Reception staff, the security guard that in the car park at the training facility has a release clause. Everyone got a release clause. You have a release clause. You have a release clause. You have everyone gets a release clause. But yes, he's got a release clause of 100 million euros. Suleiman mentions it here. 100 million euros, around 87 million pounds. I don't see United paying that. Let's be honest. Let's be realistic, guys. I do not see Man United paying that. However, he is a defender we've mentioned before, and if United were to go on and pay someone's release clause, by the way, I don't know why, but I think they would be more likely to pay a release clause of a forward player. And by the way, guys, when we talk about forward players, I'm so sad about potentially Xavi Simons going elsewhere. Reportedly, he's notifying PSG that he doesn't want to be there next season. However, if he ends up anywhere that's in England, I'm going to be upset. But I just don't see that happening. Personally, I don't see that happening. Big up to David, the newest member in the Minion gang. Welcome to the community. Welcome. Make sure you use the emojis that you get and all the perks that you get. And I appreciate you for supporting the channel. So thank you so much. Very unserious club. Discussions without no end product. Preseason starts soon. No hope of signings. Just foolish internal discussion. We are going to fail next season. Maybe 13th position. No proper planning. Damn, that's harsh. I mean, who's really signed anybody, guys? Honestly speaking, the transfer window is not even open. It's open, but it's not really opened because everybody's at international competitions. Everyone's at the Euros. Everybody's at Copa America. Who has, except for Chelsea, who has really announced any signings? No one. Right now, this time of the transfer window, when we're in June, yeah, I always feel like it's the time of speculation and discussion and all of that kind of stuff, because nothing happens in this time of the year. Nothing happens. It's just we're all talk. I think July is when we kind of expect things to speed up, especially July 1st, which is the new financial year, of course. And I think a big aspect is a lot of Man United signings. Well, all of Man United signings last season came in after July 1st. So from an FFP perspective, Man United it's not smart for them to make signings until the new financial year, which is 1st of July. Next week, Monday. So after that, I will start to probably anticipate that United kind of get the ball rolling. Right now, I feel like they're laying the foundations so that when the 1st of July comes and the new financial year arrives, bam, they can go out and make their signings. I mean, there's no point, in my opinion, approaching a club Like, for example, we might as well just start on it right now. We might as well start on it right now with Joshua Zirkzee. There's no point approaching a club to buy a player when you don't know if the player is going to join or not. So what United seem to be doing, and this is the general consensus reported by everyone on Sky, etc., is that they are going to agree terms with a player's camp. In this situation, it is Joshua Zirkzee. They are going to agree terms, or trying to agree terms with him. That is the goal. They are in talks with his representatives, with his agent, trying to agree commission, trying to agree photo image rights, all of that kind of stuff. And then all they have to do is call Bologna and notify them that they're going to trigger his release clause, and that is it. That's all they have to do. However, I did see a report today by Fabrizio Romano. Well, actually last night by Fabrizio Romano. He did a live on playback where he was answering questions, and he says Joshua Zirkzee's priority is to join AC Milan. I think AC Milan do not want to engage in talks directly with Bologna because I think it's about the fee. I think Man United are more happy to pay the fee. It's 34 million, which I think is a bargain. The best striker we signed this window, guys, might actually be RUUD van Nistelrooy. That actually might be the best striker that we signed. Manchester United, like I mentioned, are in talks with Joshua Zirkzee's representatives after they have already made it clear to Bologna that they are prepared to meet his 34 million release clause. So, of course, before they officially trigger that, they're just trying to talk to him, trying to gauge it, trying to figure out exactly what it is. Now, Manchester United, this comes from the Daily Star again. I take this with a pinch of salt, guys. I take this with a pinch of salt. Man United are locked in talking with Zirkzee's representatives about the personal terms, but they haven't come to an agreement yet. Both parties are still far apart because when it comes to the players' wages and the lengths, but further talks are planned across the next 48 hours. So the next couple of days, Man United will continue talking with his representatives. I guess it is the wages. What do you think is Man United? What do you think Man United is putting on the table versus what Zirkzee is waiting for? Because if it's the contract length and the wages that seem to be where the hurdle is occurring, maybe they're not offering him enough and the contract is too low in terms of the number of years, or they're offering him a low valuation wage and the contract length is too long. Now, we know historically over the last couple of years when it comes to transfers, Manchester United have been dishing out 5-6 year deals. Anthony came in on a 5-year deal. Everybody has come in on 5-6 year deals. You know what Chelsea are doing in the market right now with their ridiculous 8, 10, 20 year. I don't know if let me not spread lies. They're not doing 20-year deals, but they are doing 7, 8, 9-year deals when they're offering contracts to players. However, when I have watched an interview that Umar Barada did, he spoke about the logistics of running a club and bringing players in. And he spoke about the idea or the notion that when you bring players in, you give them 2 years to succeed or to impress. And if they don't succeed after 2 years, bam, transfer listed. And you think back to what happened at Manchester City over the last 10 or so years, who, by the way, they look like they're in deep shit right now. But hey ho, can't complain too much about that. But back to what Umar Barada's idea and philosophy is when it comes to transfers. Excuse me. If they bid for Zirkzee right now, say hypothetically they buy Zirkzee for 34 million paid, and they bring him in on a 4-year deal with reasonable salary, say 90k, 100k, whatever, reasonable salary. If after 2 years he's not performed, and it's a situation like Anthony, or it's a situation like Jadon Sancho, etc., it's more easier to shift him and sell him on than it would be, say, if he was on 150k and he's on a 6-year deal. It would be a lot more easier than that. So I think they are trying to change not only the way Man United operate in the market when it comes to transfer fees, but also the packages that they offer to players. Ridwan mentions it here, says he gets paid 22k a week at Bologna. Just give him 80k a week, done, or 100k. 80k a week, yeah, with a goal bonus of, say, I don't know, 20 goals. If you score 20 goals in the season, you get a 2 million bonus. By the way, that's just me using my EAFC logic. Yeah, of course, 2 million is not that they won't do that. But say it's one of those kind of bonuses. Marcus Rashford, by the way, his contract is heavily incentive based as well. He's got a lot of incentive based things such as goals, assists, etc. Maybe that's not the path that Zirkzee and his team want to go down. Maybe that's not the case. But I do think out of all the players that Manchester United have been linked to when it comes to frontline, when it comes to strikers, I do feel like it is Zirkzee. I definitely feel like that. We've been linked to Ivan Toney, Jonathan David of recent. I've mentioned Guirassy from Stuttgart, who has now notified Stuttgart that he will be leaving in the summer, but United haven't really looked in his direction. He had a release clause of like 20 million euros as well on the older side. However, has had a good, I think he's like the third top goal scorer or second top goal scorer in the German league. There are strikers out there, evidently. You know, then you have the likes of Victor Osimhen, Gonzalo Ramos, you got Guy Corres at Sporting, etc. There are strikers on the market. It's just about the valuations. You know, we're seeing strikers that are valued right now 90, 100, 120, 130 million. And then you've got I'll say the middle table teams or the middle tiered teams in Europe, such as Bologna, etc., who have qualified for Champions League. So Zirkzee essentially is leaving a team that he led to Champions League to join a team maybe that's not in Champions League. And if his preference is AC Milan, then Manchester United have to sell the hell out of this project here. They have to sell it. They have to bring in the likes of RUUD van Nistelrooy to say, listen, you're going to work with one of the best strikers of the 2000s, one of the best strikers of that decade is going to be your striker coach. It can't get like, come on, it can't get better than anything like that. All that's left is dashing Robin van Persie into Carrington and say, yeah, you got another striker that you can work with, or another striker coach that you can work with. I know RVP is a coach elsewhere, but there has to be selling points that can draw him to it. And Man United also have to look at it similar to the Branthwaite deal, because with Branthwaite, they're negotiating directly with the club, whereas it seems like with Zirkzee, the decision will be coming from him. If he doesn't want to come, don't force him. Don't force him. Don't overcompensate by giving him a higher salary or, you know, giving him better incentive-based achievements in his contract. Giving him... If a player doesn't want to join Manchester United, do you guys, and this is a question to you lot in the chat, do you think United should walk away? Because it's no secret, I think, that Zirkzee wants to join AC Milan. He agreed terms with him before he actually went to the Euros. He already agreed terms with him with AC Milan and left the ball in their court to agree terms with the club. I am under the impression that if he has his heart set on joining someone like AC Milan, and United are sniffing around and he doesn't want to commit because he's waiting for AC Milan, put the offer on the table. And if he doesn't want the offer, you had no problem walking away from Tosin Adarabioyo, so you should have no problem walking away from Zirkzee. However, I can imagine that it will look bad on someone, on them. I can imagine it looks bad on Ineos, because I feel like a lot of fans are sitting on their hands right now, sitting fiddling their fingers, just waiting for that first signing under Ineos. That's a player. I think that's what a lot of people are waiting for. And it has to be, I'm not saying it has to be a marquee name. It doesn't need to be an Mbappe. It doesn't have to be a Mohamed Salah. It doesn't have to be a Neymar. But it has to be a player that is filling the void that Manchester United currently have. Because man, oh man, Man United have a lot of voids. They have a lot of gaps right now in the starting 11, on the bench, etc. So that first signing, that second signing has to be wow, like a wow kind of signing. It has to be something that we feel would transform the team and what the team has been missing for so long now. Like clockwork, guys, like clockwork. I swear, I don't know what it is, but Rabiot is one of those names that will come up regardless of what. It doesn't matter who the manager is. It don't matter who the owner is. Rabiot is a name that will come up like clockwork. Last summer, the summer before that, wallahi, this guy's name is I after the first game, after France versus Netherlands, last week, he had a very good game, by the way. He had a very good game. And I remember saying to my cousin, I was like, it's only a matter of time that United's linked to Rabiot again. Couple of days later, bam, like clockwork, news comes out. Manchester United are watching or interested in or keeping an eye on Adrien Rabiot, an experienced player, absolutely no doubt, but also a player that comes with a bit of package. He comes with a bit of baggage. He comes with some stuff. I don't want to say the stuff, but you don't know what I'm talking about. He comes with a little bit of baggage, you know, especially if United are trying to move away from this dramatized Old Trafford, the dramatized Carrington, where drama and trouble and theatrics just follow the players and follow the team. 20 million, 15 million, you know, with other players that Manchester United have been linked to in that midfield, such as Yusuf Fofana, Amadou Onana, etc. Seems like United are quite fond of French players. But of course, this is a player that has been mentioned before. By the way, can I just say, guys, side note, this French kit at the Euros, I think it's the best kit. I think it's actually the best kit at the Euros. Both the home and away one. Both of them are so, like, this blue one is amazing. I just think this chicken or whatever the hell it is on the chest, yeah, the emblem of France, is it a chicken or is it like a duck? I don't know. I just think it's too big. If it was a little bit smaller, this kit would be beautiful. You will never catch me dead in a France shirt. You will never ever catch me dead in a France shirt. However, I do like the kit. I do like the kit. Especially the away one. I do like the away one. It's a rooster. Oh shit, did I say it was a duck? What the hell does a duck even look like? Does it even look like that? I said a chicken. That looks like a duck, guys. No, it doesn't look like a duck. That don't look like a duck. Does it look like a chicken? It is a chicken. That looks like a chicken, guys. You lot, bro, that is a chicken. Come on, guys. Be for real. Be for real, guys. It's a rooster. What is a rooster like a male chicken? What is a rooster? A rooster is a chicken. Okay. A rooster is a chicken. Oh my god, they only live for 10 years. So roosters are chickens. Are you lot trying to confuse me? Nah, you lot are trying to put. It's a male chicken. It's a male chicken. I thought chicken was just chicken. What? A chook is the Australian way to say a chicken. A chick is a young chicken. A hen. Oh my god. Is that why it's called hen parties? Because hen is a female chicken. Wow. Wow, guys, I've learned so much today. I've learned a lot. What the hell? Anyways, whatever the hell that is on their chest is too big. I really like the kit. I really like the white one as well. But we will have to revisit the prospect. The prospect of Adrien Rabiot joining Manchester United. Another player that Man United have been linked to, by the way, in midfield. I can't believe I just embarrassed myself right here on stream. Honestly, guys, I've had a long day. My eyes hurt. Like, it was looking a bit like a duck to me. Roosters symbolizes new beginnings. First animal you hear on a farm. Fun fact, you see, guys, we learn a lot here on the channel. We don't just learn about football. We learn about nature. We learn about animals. We learn about marathons. I'm not going to talk about a marathon, but what I am going to talk about is Edison Alvarez, linked to Manchester United. Manchester United, funnily enough, before he actually joined West Ham, I remember Chelsea were in for him. I remember when everyone was going to Ajax and doing a sweep. This was the year that actually Erik ten Hag's first summer in. It's when Man United brought Anthony. They brought in Lisandro Martinez. There was talk about Kudus joining Everton at the time. I don't know if you lot remember. Edison Alvarez was another player 2 seasons ago, I remember, who sat out from training sessions trying to force a move to Chelsea. Even on deadline day, he was trying to force that move. Chelsea really wanted him. In the end, they didn't get him. The season after that, West Ham brought him. But it's reported that Manchester United have inquired to West Ham about a possible move for the midfielder in recent days. This was across the weekend, and then unfortunately he came off in Copa America yesterday with an injury, had to be helped off the pitch. His price valuation is a bit on the upper side, a bit on the higher side, and Erik ten Hag is very fond of this guy. 60 to 80 million euros, West Ham can kiss our asses. Excuse my language, but honestly, West Ham, you are having a damn laugh. We will give you Maguire, you give us Edison Alvarez. We'll just do a straight swap, like for like. I will keep an eye, and I think we should keep an eye on it, because it seems like Yusuf Fofana was the name that Manchester United was linked to quite heavily, who was at the lower end in terms of price. 20 million was a lot cheaper, but now it looks like Rabiot. There's other names popping up. Edison Alvarez. Get that idea of João Neves out of your head, guys, because United are not paying that 120 million fee. However, I'm going to take it back 20 years ago, or near enough to 20 years ago, when Sir Alex Ferguson and the best striker at the time had a little fallout. I can't remember what their fallout was about, by the way. I can't remember what their fallout was about, but they had a fallout, and then he left. And fast forward now, it looks like RUUD van Nistelrooy will be returning to Manchester United. And what a return that would be. It seems like we've had some returns over the last couple of years. We've had Cristiano Ronaldo return. We've had Steve McLaren return. But Manchester United and RUUD van Nistelrooy, I feel like there's a story there that's unfinished. I feel like there's an unfinished story there. And I also think, and this is maybe me being the conspiracy theorist that I am, that he's maybe a guy that Ineos are fond of, and they want him in and around the setup over the next year or two to potentially have him as a manager in the future, 5 years from now, 4 years from now, 3 years from now. I'm not too sure. But the most recent news coming out of Manchester United regarding this is that it is fast advancing. I hate, by the way, Fabrizio Romano's updates, because he's just always like, it's fast advancing, give us more. What is holding it back from completion? But he did come with the exclusive yesterday that RUUD van Nistelrooy had been approached to join Manchester United's staff, Erik ten Hag's staff. It's up to him to make the decision. He's very keen on it, very keen on the idea of returning. He will be Manchester United's assistant coach. He's in talks with United, and he's also held several discussions with other clubs for the head coach role. So essentially, Manchester United are saying to him, listen, we got a job for you, assistant coach settings. And other clubs are saying to you, forget assistant coach, you can be the head coach, including Burnley, Club Brugge, and multiple other teams in Germany and Spain. However, at Manchester United, he's highly regarded, and he is also open to the challenge of being in a different role. Now, before we actually get into it, and I've actually mentioned him in the past, because I mentioned a video on the coach's voices, which he did like a whole sit-down breakdown, which I'm actually going to go through a little bit on him in terms of his coaching career. Obviously, he came from PSV. His football career started at PSV. So there's no secret that he went back there to kind of start his coaching career. PSV under 17s, he assisted Gus Hiddink at the World Cup in 2014 for the Netherlands. Then he came back to PSV to work under the under 19s, and then he joined PSV's first team. He was appointed as a replacement for the outgoing coach in the middle of the season. Signed a 3-year deal, and then went on to win some silverware with them. So essentially, I don't want to say what Erik ten Hag has done in the Dutch league, he has also done, because Erik ten Hag has won multiple trophies with Ajax, but he's won 2 trophies. He's won 2 trophies with PSV in the space of a season? Yeah, in the space of a season, he's won 2 trophies at PSV with the team. Both of them cups. He resigned from his position because of differences, because of the lack of support. But he's very open to this idea of joining Manchester United, and this is where the links kind of start to come, because he also developed across a season whilst he was out there on loan, Jared Branthwaite, and he talks about him also in his video. He talks about and by the way, guys, I highly recommend you go on YouTube, you watch the coach's voice. If you want, go on my Twitter. I tweeted it. Not gonna lie, those kids are having fun. I know they're right, bro. They're right under my window. Should I close my window? Is it bothering you guys? If the sound is bothering you, Yeah, if the sound is bothering you, but I can't. What should I do? Should I throw water at them so they go back inside? It's either that or they play inside, and I'd much rather them play outside. But if you're interested in reading about Ruud van Nistelrooy or watching about Ruud van Nistelrooy's philosophy and the way that he plays as a coach, please go and watch this video. It's on the coach's voices. I don't know if I play it, if I'll get done for copyright right now. But he talks about out of possession, the mid block that he builds, that he likes to build, the Johan Cruyff style of using the wide areas or forcing people out to the wide areas. In possession, he talks about forcing the opponent inside. The tactical changes or attacking with 2 10s is what he did with PSV. And also his philosophy when it comes to penalties or penalty shootouts or giving advice to players about penalties. He kind of goes into it a lot about detail, and he mentions Jared Branthwaite and how he kind of utilized Jared Branthwaite whilst he was at PSV. It's a great watch, but watching it kind of made me understand what we could anticipate at Manchester United if he joins, and why Manchester United are interested in him, because I feel like what they are building, what the coaching staff, what they want to build around with the coaching staff and with Erik ten Hag, Ruud van Nistelrooy has that. He's already got that experience, albeit it's not 10 years, 20 years of experience. However, he's got experience in other places that some people might not have. He understands the league. He's got experience in the Premier League as a player. So he's got experience playing in the league. He's very good at communication in English and as well as other languages. I think he speaks multiple different languages. And of course, he can work with players, not just on the coaching block, but he can also work with them as one-to-ones, especially the strikers, the Højlunds, the Rashfords, all of them guys. I mean, personally, who better for them to learn from than Ruud van Nistelrooy? Like, if you do not improve under Ruud van Nistelrooy, then you must be a crap striker. No disrespect, but I'm expecting, if Ruud van Nistelrooy comes in, I expect to see a change in Rasmus Højlund. Otherwise, he's kind of let me down in the Euros as well. Ridwan coming through with the information saying Ruud van Nistelrooy is a potential replacement for Erik ten Hag's assistant Mitchell van der Gaag or forwards coach Benny McCarthy, whose contract runs out at the end of the month. I'm not surprised that Mitchell van der Gaag's name is being mentioned, because he is a manager. He's a factor of Erik ten Hag's situation that was mentioned during this assessment that Ineos was undergoing about the fact that Erik ten Hag was so loyal to his next in line. Obviously, he came over with him from Ajax as well, and they've worked together for many, many years. But also, if you lot remember when we did the breakdown of the Athletic piece that was inside Carrington, basically what it was called, it mentioned Mitchell van der Gaag as someone who's quite cold, and the players didn't warm up to that. Now, I'm not saying that because of that he should be sacked or he should be replaced, but I'm looking at the appointment of Ruud van Nistelrooy and trying to understand the logic of why Ineos would look to bring him in. I mean, it was mentioned as well in the past that that Ineos were looking to bring in their own assistant to Erik ten Hag. It wasn't mentioned that it was obviously this guy here. It wasn't mentioned that it was Ruud van Nistelrooy, but I do kind of understand the idea that A, he understands the league, B, he's played for the club, so he understands the club, not so much under Ineos, but he understands the standards because he was part of that era under Sir Alex Ferguson. Of course, it ended in a bit of a bitter way, but listen, if you grew up watching Ruud van Nistelrooy, this guy was a booter. He was a shooter. He was all of that. A real number 9, a fox in the box, if you want to call it that, or a box in the fox. Which one is it? A fox in the box. He was a fox in the box, guys. And every person, if you ever watch an interview of anyone that played with him at United, when they are asked who's the best player that you've ever played with, they will always say Ruud van Nistelrooy, especially the forwards, especially the midfielders. They will always say Ruud van Nistelrooy. And of course, his understanding of the league, his understanding of the club and what it means to play for the club, as well as his experience coaching a first team, working as an assistant coach for a national team, his philosophy, which does align with what Erik ten Hag does or what Erik ten Hag tries to do, i.e. the Ajax way, the Johan Cruyff style of football, and what Ineos want to build. He just seems like he is the piece to a puzzle there. That's what I'm kind of seeing. Being Dutch, he probably speaks Dutch, German, French, Spanish, maybe maybe Spanish. Yeah, he I know he definitely speaks Dutch, English. I think he speaks German, and I don't know what other languages he speaks. I don't know. Can I find out what other languages he speaks? Nah, there's not really much information about all the different, there's not really much information about all the different languages he speaks. So we're definitely going to keep an eye on it. Before we wrap up the stream, let's just double check to see that there's not been any news since we've been live. It's reported, by the way, by the Telegraph that RUUD van Nistelrooy has spoken to Burnley about their position. Obviously, I mentioned this before, but the idea of returning to Manchester United as part of Erik ten Hag's staff is thought to have a stronger appeal to him. So the idea of him being an assistant coach, this is crazy, by the way. The idea of him being an assistant coach is more attractive to him than being a head coach at Burnley. I mean, that says a lot. Don't be late for Sahi's stream. I won't be on it, unfortunately. I'm on the thumbnail. But yeah, I'm actually not going to be on it. So that seems to be the latest update for RUUD van Nistelrooy's situation. I'm calling it a situation. It's not really a situation, but that seems to be the latest update with RUUD van Nistelrooy and Manchester United. He is intrigued by it. He's appealed by it. He's attracted to the idea of being his second in command. And the Telegraph have kind of confirmed, what's his name at the Telegraph? James Ducker has confirmed that RUUD van Nistelrooy's return to Manchester United would be contingent on Erik ten Hag agreeing a contract extension, which is kind of what I mentioned earlier on the stream, is that when we were talking about Erik ten Hag's situation with his contract still being ongoing and they're hoping for it to be finalized before pre-season, I did mention that I do think that Erik ten Hag signing that contract that Ineos put on the table coincides with RUUD van Nistelrooy coming in through the door and maybe some other situations changing around at Carrington. As of right now, I guess because when he joined Manchester United, he brought his coaching staff in as part of that. I guess they cannot move pieces of the puzzle, such as Mitchell van der Gaag, such as Benny McCarthy, etc., without Erik ten Hag agreeing to it, essentially. And of course, without Erik ten Hag maybe agreeing to taking a bit of a backseat with other situations at the club, such as transfers, such as the academy, etc., etc. So that is kind of the situation now. If you want to, this is so jokes. There's a video of Erik ten Hag and Van Nistelrooy playing against each other. What? This is ridiculous, guys. So there's footage of Erik ten Hag telling the referee to instruct RUUD van Nistelrooy to stay behind the line before kickoff back in 2000 and 2001 for the KNVB Cup final. Let me see if I can share it. Can I share it? Here you go. So look, that's Erik ten Hag. He had hair, mad. And that's RUUD van Nistelrooy wearing number 8. And that's Erik ten Hag being a snitch to the ref. And he's telling him, look. He's telling him, go back. That is so random. You know, the internet be finding the most randomest stuff. So sometimes I come across the most, like, how do you even find that? How do you even find that? That is real heritage. That is, someone's going to be like, oh, were you not alive when that happened? No, I was literally a child. I was literally a child. Why would RUUD come to United as coach when he got an offer for manager at another club? It's the pool. It's the pool. It's the Man United pool. No, I'm joking. It could be the sentiment, the idea, being second in line. You don't know, but guys, we don't even know if, and I don't want to speculate, but again, you know me, I love a good conspiracy theory. He might be touted to be the next in line after Erik ten Hag. That could be why he's coming in, to get the ropes for a year or two under Erik ten Hag, under the number of years that obviously Erik ten Hag signs his extension to, which is going to be a 2+1. Reportedly, it'll be a 2-year deal for Erik ten Hag +1. So it'll be next season and the season after that, and then the season after that is an option. So Ineos could be selling this to him, saying, listen, come in as 2 years as an assistant coach, and then you become head coach at a later date by 2027 or 2026, whatever. You'll become head coach. That could be the selling point of course, coming into Burnley, going from PSV Eindhoven to Burnley is a big jump, because PSV Eindhoven were winning stuff in the Dutch league. You know, he took them to 2 cup finals and won it. On top of that, you know, the players that he had at his expense, he had the likes of Xavi Simons, he had the likes of Ibrahim Sangare, he had the likes of Jared Branthwaite, he had Gakpo, he had a serious talent pool. He had a serious talent pool. To then go to Burnley is 2 different examples. It's 2 different situations. Whereas at Manchester United, 2 years as an assistant coach and then maybe becoming head coach, that wouldn't be too far off. But I guess he matches up to what Ineos wants. Someone who knows the culture of the club, understands the heritage and the history of the club, understands where it is to win, has the coaching experience, has the same football philosophy in mind. I mean, can I play this? I'm gonna see if I can.
Against Ajax, played in Rotterdam, always in the national stadium.
Can you not hear it? I hope you can hear it.
It's the 4th time we played Ajax, and it's obviously the biggest rivalry in town. So to play cup final against them was a big thing, and so everything leading up to it was focused on that. All the cup games.
So he talks about starting 11 and all of that.
He didn't start in the league, but all the cup games until the final, he played, did really well. I thought that he deserved that chance to play because he's shown great quality in training, and his attitude was fantastic. And I think with his age, he's also one for the future. So I gave him that opportunity and all the confidence that goes along with it to
look at the way he talks about players
games. So,
and why he starts certain players.
Right back, Jordan These.
I don't want to see. I want to see you talk about Jared Branthwaite.
I a lot to because build up with
Sorry,
the
guys,
I'm
impatient right now.
He has and his passing options when he passes off the to handle centre back. One of the leaders of the very is that we game. Left centre back Jared Branthwaite. I don't have to introduce him to the public now, because he's doing fantastic at Everton. Obviously, he had a fantastic development in the season, especially the second half of the season. He showed great quality on and off the ball. The touches he has with the left and right in the build-up, but also defensively, the duels he was winning, and also with the pace he has, because we like to press high and be high up on the pitch. So you have to be on the halfway line. So he wasn't afraid to do that. So fantastic center, them too. They developed as a very good center.
See, he's got great stuff to say about Jared Branthwaite. And listen, I'm not gonna make you lot watch this because it's literally like a 20-minute video. But I encourage you to go watch it if you can. He goes in detail about about a lot of stuff, about his philosophy, about, like I said, the Johan Cruyff style of football, the school of football, all of that stuff. He goes in detail. So go and check it out, and maybe that will kind of give you an insight into what we can anticipate if RVN, he's the original Dutch striker for Manchester United. But like I said, it'll give you a bit more insight into maybe why Manchester United are keen on the idea of him. But that is it. You guys know what it is. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. As always, you know where to find me. We are here live every day, 4 p.m, 5 p.m, 6 p.m. It depends. It just really depends, especially with the Euros football as well. Big up to the newest members as well. Big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button on your way out. We are 5 likes away from 100. You lot know it really pushes the video. It pushes the algorithm. It gets the channel out there. We are on the road to 5k. We are not far off, less than 600 away. So we'll maybe do a Q&A when I get to 5k, or should I save that for 10k? I don't know. We'll see. But big up to everyone. We'll be back here tomorrow as well. However, we might be live tomorrow later in the day, probably around 7 p.m, just because there's Euro games at 5 p.m. and then there's the Euro games at 8 p.m. So I'll try slot in a stream at around 7 p.m. as well, so that we can talk about everything around then. But as I mentioned, guys, we're not too far off from 100 likes. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. If you want to join the Minionship gang, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content as well. And of course, you get to support the growth of the wonderful channel and the beautiful community that we are building here as well. But as I mentioned, I'll be back. And if you are watching this back on replay and you want the idea, or you like the idea of similar streams to this, but non-Manchester United, let me know. Let me know if you are interested. We'll talk about Premier League, Serie A, La Liga, all of that stuff. We'll do transfer news for all the other type of clubs as well throughout the summer. If you are interested in that, let me know. But as I mentioned, hit the like button on your way out and don't go anywhere, because I will not be on Saeed's stream, but this will take you over there. And when you go there, just type in Minagang in the chat, man. I'm out, guys. Peace.